You've seen the first one. Now you had double the fun watching the second one. And now it's 3 times the action, 3 times the disc flips, and 3 times the disc to go through. Cinema Duos LaserDisc Collection coming right at you in CLV and CX noise reduction.
So, we finally arrived at finishing off H through some of the letter L. And as my LaserDisc revival continues and the collection of such items, here we go. This is one I picked up around here locally. This was for dirt cheap, and of course it is Hearts of Darkness, a filmmaker's Apocalypse. Once you see Apocalypse Now, this is the movie you play right after it. Unbelievable, the story of what Francis went through to make Apocalypse Now. Highly recommended. This was another one of those things where you walk in and you say, I can't refuse it, and that is Heat, Michael Mann's classic 3-hour crime drama epic. This film is awesome, and of course the LaserDisc is an AC3 digital. I have had the DVD edition for some time, but when I saw this, it's like I really can't refuse it. So this ends up in the collection again, and if you haven't seen the movie, highly recommended. Excellent. And then, being a person of notable Shakespearean, somebody who appreciates the fine work of the Baird, of course, Henry V, Kenneth Branagh's epic adaptation of it. And this is also a good picture, but it's one of those movies where the picture quality really isn't that good on it, but so what, when it's for a couple of bucks, you might as well go get it, right? And then this was another Criterion disc that I really was looking for to get a hold of, and that is the CAV version of High Noon. And this is a movie that when I got a hold of it, I decided I'd say, hey, let me see what the first 10 minutes are like. Then I'll make an assessment if I want to watch it later or prioritize it as a, move it up in the ranks to go ahead and check it out. I watched the whole thing, and I've heard some people say, well, it's only good into the last half an hour. Bull, you missed the whole point. You missed the whole build-up. This really took me, in terms of the shot making and the storytelling on this one, really got to me. It was really good. Of course, this is made by Fred Zinnemann, who the next picture right after this is From Here to Eternity. And then, of course, he also directed one of my favorites, The Day of the Jackal. Now, this is a double jacket. You've got the nice open gatefold here. And then, of course, it shows you the 3 sides of the LaserDisc that's on here. My only gripe with this was it does have some LaserDisc rot on it, but it's still, I'm able to look at the storyboards and the other supplemental material. It still stays intact, but after I got done watching the movie, I went to another exchange store and I found the THX DVD, so I'm going to still look at it. I'm going to still kind of see if I can play long as it holds up and the LaserDisc rot doesn't expand through the whole disc. I'll be okay. And then I've been hearing quite a bit about this picture. This got quite a bit of reviews, and that is Mr. Holland's Opus. So, of course, it is an AC3 digital disc. So, I've never seen this, but I'm going to give this a shot. It was dirt cheap. Why not? And then I got this idea because I was watching the Damn Fool Idealistic Crusader. I was going through his discs. I think it was on one of the. I think it was actually on one of the LaserDisc shows that Culture Dog did, and he was saying, by the way, you should kind of get a hold of this, and that is right. Is to get a hold of the original Invaders from Mars, and this is an original piece of work. It does have some very redeeming qualities to it. It also is shot on a very low budget, but it's imaginative and very well executed in some areas. But this was a yes vote, and if you get a chance to watch it, if you like the classic science fiction from the 1950s, this is an interesting add-on to the collection. This was another one that I was familiar with when it was released out. And when you see it sitting around there for dirt cheap, I decided to go get the Jagged Edge movie with Jeff Bridges and Glenn Close. It is a movie that I haven't seen in a long time, and I want to watch it again and see if I can get a review to it. Remember, I don't know if it went over well with me or not, but it's another one. Maybe my opinions change after all these years. And then I had to get it when it was out there. Stallone's Judge Dredd. And of course, this is going to be targeting for a review of mine. I just had to get it. Then I went out and decided to get the extended play version, the CLV version of Jurassic Park. I already had the CAV box set. That was an original purchase from the 90s, the box set. But I figured, if I just want to watch a movie all the way through, what better way than just to throw the CLV disc on instead of shifting through the 3 discs. I got one less disc to put in the player. And I had to complete the Jurassic Park collection with, of course, The Lost World, which is in THX AC3. And it's been a while since I've seen this, so I got to go on the Jurassic Park 1 and Jurassic Park 2 routine and see them all. And this was another one that I'm quite familiar with, and that is Lady Hawk, directed by Richard Donner. It has Rutger Hauer, and of course Matthew Broderick and Michelle Pfeiffer in it. And this is a movie that I saw when it was originally released. It's always been a very well entertaining movie. I'm not really big on swords and sorcery and fantasy movies, but this one was well executed by Richard Donner. And of course the script was really well done. So another one that I'm looking forward to rewatching again. And I decided to bid on something because it was sitting around there for a relatively low price and no one touched it. So I got Peter Bogdanovich's CAV box set of The Last Picture Show. And of course that's Jeff Bridges and Sybil Shepherd in it. And this was something I was kind of wanting to get a hold of, but it was extremely expensive when it was out. I think they got it for like $6 or $7, including shipping. So it was such a deal for originally in the box, and there's no scratching on the LaserDisc, no cutting on the sleeves, nothing. It arrived in absolute perfect condition. And then it was sitting around quite a bit. I decided to add to the collection because I've been debating if I want to get the Criterion or the Criterion CAV disc. And I know for a fact I do want it on Blu-ray 4K, and that is David Lean's classic epic Lawrence of Arabia. And this movie is shot in 70mm, and it's all in its splendor in the letterbox format. You get to see the whole thing in this. And this is one of the great pictures of all time. And an interesting side note was years ago out here in the Arizona, I actually saw it in 70mm in the theater. And that is hard to describe. It was just awesome to see the large projection of it. And I sat about right in the middle of it, the theater, and I got an excellent view of it. So that actually was more powerful than, of course, watching the movies, because when you see the projected image on the big screen, it's an entire different movie, and it still is a great picture. And this was another one that came out in the 90s that was quite good, and I'm surprised more people aren't talking about it, and that is Penny Marshall's A League of Their Own. This talks about a league of softball league for women out in the 40s, and very well done. Lots of funny moments. Of course, Tom Hanks is just awesome in it. And there's a lot of other good elements in it that are thrown in that get overlooked by Tom Hanks' performance. But it is a worthy checkout, and it's a worthy find to get a hold of. The other movie that I was also looking for, and I just shied away for when it first came out, and I think it was close to like $100 for it, But I finally found Stanley Kubrick's Lolita. This is an engaging work by Kubrick featuring sharp, interesting angles photographed in black and white. And this story is handled with such precision and delicacy from Kubrick. This is a double gatefold album. It has 2 discs. And of course it's got a lot of information on the sleeve and a lot of other interesting stuff. But this was something I was out to get. And I'm still out to get it, more than likely, on the Criterion Blu-ray or a 4K upgrade. This is awesome. And I had heard about this before. Still haven't seen the movie, but I'm familiar with one thing. It was that it has an outstanding screenplay, and that is The Long Kiss Goodnight. This is an AC3 LaserDisc. And I've put a little bit of it in there, and it gives the sound system a good workout. And Gina Davis is quite good in here. And I'm going to have to check this thing all the way out to really give a solid review instead of BSing you that I saw it. Alright, continuing on, we hit the M's. And this was a movie that I believe I originally copied over to VHS. But since the VHS player don't work, I actually do have one, but not the Super VHS. But I ended up getting Michael Mann's Manhunter. And this actually surprised me. Good picture quality, and yes, the sound quality was really good. Very interesting progressive soundtrack on it, of interesting music. Good one. I also have this on THX DVD. The other one that I bought on a spur of a notice was Mask of Zorro. This was sitting around for a few bucks. I says, why not? It's got AC3 Dolby Digital on it. Yeah, let's give it a shot. And I was totally surprised. This is a good movie. And this was another one that I was actually looking for. Not really looking for. I just figured, why not? It's so cheap. That is Mimic. This is also an AC3 digital LaserDisc. Yeah, why not? I haven't seen this in a long time, so don't give me any spoilers. Then, of course, I know what this is, but I just couldn't refuse with it being in the bargain basket for dirt cheap, and that is James Bond Moonraker. Yes, Mr. Bond, I have a death suitable for you. This is one of my guilty pleasures of James Bond. It's not my favorite one, but I just love the production design of this, especially when they get up to the Moonraker space station. Awesome. And it's kind of disappointing. In fact, there's no chapter search, but the last part of the last section of the movie is in CAV. Worth a look. And I had to get this Mortal Kombat. That's another AC3 LaserDisc to complement Mortal Kombat Annihilation. And it looks like Annihilation is going to reign prominently in my worst movies of all time list. But I got the 2 of them, so I figured it'd be a nice way to get them. Double feature night, I suppose. And then this was a comedy I remember when it came out, released. I figured I'd pick this one up, and that is Mrs. Doubtfire, and that is a THX LaserDisc. One of Robin Williams' funnier movies. Definitely works out in the better for him. Single jacket design here. Christopher Columbus directed this one. The guy who went on to do some of the Harry Potter movies, by the way. But good find, nevertheless. So many movies to talk about. But yet, of course, once we have all these movies in place, we will be ready for the new Bond adventure ahead. This was a movie that I was out for, and I decided to get a hold of this in LaserDisc, and I definitely want the Blu-ray edition of it. That is Alfred Hitchcock's notorious featuring none other than Cary Grant and Ingrid Bergman, who gives a stellar performance in this movie. And this is a double gatefold, 2-disc set, excellent artwork, nice laid out for the discs. But this one is one of Hitchcock's best pictures. Highly recommended if you can even get this on any format. Excellent movie. And this is kind of a rare one to find, hard one to find. That is Brian De Palma's Obsession with Cliff Robertson in it, starring. I remember when they released this, I never really watched it, but now that I get it for dirt cheap, oh yeah, I'm going to throw this in the collection and take a look at it and see if there's anything of interest in it. And then we have the next film, which is...
He's a cop. It's a dirty job. But somebody's got to take out the garbage. Steven Seagal is out for justice.
Yes, this is the classic one with Steven Seagal. And I just couldn't refuse getting it because of the whole front end across the board here. That's the reason why I just loved that advertisement they did for it. But still want to watch it all the way through. And rounding out Her Majesty's Shakespearean Theatre with the rendition of Othello, starring Lawrence Fishburne and Kenneth Branagh. And we finally have a person of color playing the lead role of Othello without somebody throwing on the makeup to make them appear to be a person of color. And of course, as we know, Lawrence Fishburne is a talented actor who can deliver the goods. And I have not seen this one all the way through, but I have to. And this is going to be my Shakespearean fest on the week of his birthday. This is one of them. It's interesting to see how this one comes out. This was one that was in the bargain basement for dirt cheap, and that is Outbreak, directed by Wolfgang Petersen of Das Boot fame. Of course, it's got Dustin Hoffman, Rene Russo, and Morgan Freeman. This is an AC3 Laserdisc that sits here unopened. So I want to give this thing a shot. You know, it's a single jacket design. Nice artwork altogether. It does have that virus movie, which, that sounds interesting. Aren't we going through something like that right now? This is a guilty pleasure. And when I found this for real cheap, I had to say yes. This thing was literally mint condition. And that, of course, is Wesley Snipes in Passenger 57.
He's a cop with a bad mouth and a bad attitude. For the terrorists on Flight 163, he's very bad news. Wesley Snipes is Passenger 57.
So, just had to get it. Peter Bogdanovich's better works is Paper Moon with Ryan O'Neal and Tatum O'Neal. This is one of my favorite films released by Peter Bogdanovich. I do like this one quite a bit, and I just love the way this thing is shot in black and white. It's awesome. Yeah, when you see it in the bargain bin, it's real cheap. You can't refuse Patriot Games. And I'm quite surprised by this. It does have a good soundtrack, and it's a Paramount picture, so I think this one either has, or I don't think it has any chapter searches. No, it doesn't. But anyways, it was cheap, so I had to get a hold of this one. And the next one is the one that, this was another one of those that you see inside the bin, and you grab it, and then there's smoke trails off the cover to get into your hands to have it. And that is Patton, featuring George C. Scott in his unforgettable performance as Blood, Guts, and Glory. this is his swan song as an actor. This guy was a heavyweight actor, and he just is so on the mark for it. It is directed by Franklin J. Schaffner, the man whose previous work to this was none other than the original Planet of the Apes. When I saw this, THX AC3 digital, the film was shot in dimension 150, which is a 70mm process, but still awesome. It has the double gate, nice, beautiful artwork. This thing was in pristine condition. And this is another one of my things to do a World War II fest on, because this is just awesome movie. And by the way, with that, you have to watch the movie in 4:3 because all of the subtitles are underneath the letterbox. So if you expand it out to fit your television, you're going to miss the subtitles. You have to watch it in 4:3 mode. And then, and I got this one way back, but familiar with this one, and that is The Pelican Brief with Denzel Washington and Julia Roberts. And I'm going to have to watch this one again to see if I do a review. But if I remember right, and memory serves correct, I wasn't too thrilled about it. But we shall see as we rewatch again to confirm those actions. And moving on, I was kind of looking for this, but when it shows up in front of you, you're going to kick yourself in the pants. Not getting that is Poltergeist, the box set. CAV box set. Oh yeah. Loads of fun. Huge chapter list on the side of this thing. And you got all those discs you got to go through with the old CAV setup, right? Could not refuse that one. And the next one, of course, was a rather surprise. And of course, it was in good condition. That is the THX widescreen version of Irwin Allen's classic, The Poseidon Adventure. Ooh, yeah, I couldn't refuse that. Just a single jacket disc. And of course, it's in THX. But the movie was in monaural soundtrack. But the mastering is unbelievable. The picture quality on this disc is just stunning. It does it justice. It wouldn't surprise me if the DVDs pulled the same master off of this one. What's this one? Oh yeah, this is the next one, which is Rising Sun, another THX LaserDisc featuring Wesley Snipes and of course Sean Connery. Yes, this is a picture I'm kind of sort of familiar with. I saw this in the theater and I want to watch this one all the way through, but lucky me, and I got store credit with some trade and I got a hold of the Blu-ray at $1 too as well. But the THX disc is kind of nice to throw in there. It does have some pretty good sound for it. And this was directed by Philip Kaufman, the person who was responsible for The Right Stuff, and none other, the classic remake of The Invasion of the Body Snatchers. So there's some competency in the filmmaking, so to speak. And this was another bargain basement one. The Rock THX AC3. No, it's not the special edition one, it's just the CLV disc, that's all. But, yeah, I had to get a hold of that one. But that reigns prominently as probably one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I will say that. And then, I do like this guy, I think he's a pretty good actor. And that is Rumble in the Box with Jackie Chan. That was a good find. I was quite surprised at seeing this lying around for cheap. And this is made by the same crew who did Super Cop, which I have that Criterion Laserdisc as well. So it's going to be interesting to give this through a run through. And this is another classically produced film from Merchant in Ivory. And this is from the E.M. Forster novel, Room with the View. Helen Bonham Carter is in this one. And I was quite surprised playing through this. And again, the picture quality, the sound quality in this disc. That was a really surprise coming from it. And yeah, I kind of shelled out for a little bit of cash because they know what it is. But I understand these are kind of hard to find these days, but I would be kicking myself in the pants if I did not pick this up. That is Steven Spielberg's Saving Private Ryan LaserDisc. Yes, the THX AC3 one of the spectacular World War II epic. This film blew me out of the water. The opening sequence is just hard to describe. It is a real piece of work from Steven Spielberg. This is awesome. And getting a hold of this on LaserDisc, that's an even better find. You just got the back of the disc there and all the goodies on this. And since I got another film, I couldn't refuse getting this from De Palma. I've gotten a lot of De Palma films, but I had to get Scarface with none other than Al Pacino in this. And boy, you know, he just drops an F-bomb every other word in this movie, but it's something else. There's a couple famous scenes in here that you gotta watch over and over again. It's something original. And it actually does have a decent soundtrack on it, but no, this one does not have THX or AC3 or anything like that, this particular disc. But I couldn't refuse it when it's, you know, $5 or something like that, you know. And this was kind of something I was going to get after. I wanted it. I do have this on DVD, but John Frankenheimer's taut and suspenseful, crafty movie, 7 Days in May, featuring Frederick March, Burt Lancaster, and Kirk Douglas, and of course Ava Gardner in this. This is intelligent filmmaking. This is a really interestingly done film, shot in black and white. It has all that in-depth of focus on it. And this movie that I got here, the disc I got here actually, hasn't been opened yet. And kudos to the seller for sending me that way. But it doesn't have the features of the DVD where it features John Frankenheimer's commentary on it. But this is a really interesting, well-made picture. And when you're familiar with another one that's got a reputation for being a well-made movie, you just got to go out and get it. And that, of course, is The Shawshank Redemption, featuring Tim Robbins and, of course, Morgan Freeman. And Frank Darabont, the guy who wrote the screenplay adaptation to this, is a darn good scriptwriter. For those of you who are aspiring scribes, you should be really paying attention to the stuff that he does. He knows the craft. He's quite good. And this disc was in quite good condition. I did have to do some cleaning up to it, but not much. But overall, that was a good find. I was kind of looking for that. We go to a bit of trivia. What movie did Orson Welles screen 39 times before he made Citizen Kane? Oh, that's a simple answer. Everybody knows that one. It's John Ford Stagecoach with John Wayne. Yes, and this is the movie that was shot in Monument Valley. That's located up on the northern tip of the state of Arizona. And there's that for you. Simple jacket. Great movie. It's been copied off quite a bit. Not bad. Not a bad find either. Then, I'm quite familiar with this one. John Carpenter's Starman. Jeff Bridges and Karen Allen. Gotta pick that one up. That's a no-brainer. And single jacket design. Easy peasy. Got that for dirt cheap. Just as you get a hold of that, I actually got them switched over. You see it in the bin. Everybody's got the darn thing. They know what it is. And that's Stargate. Kurt Russell and James Spader. And this is a THX AC3 disc. And yes, this gives the THX AC3, this will give your system a workout like you won't believe. It's there. There's the back on it. This was in really good shape. Just had to clean the discs and off it was going. Then Well, I've had the T2 box set forever, but when you see the special edition LaserDisc, you can't refuse it because it's also a THX one. This is a double gatefold, which I'm not going to take out of here, but there it is. And I got a chance to watch. I'm going to get a chance to watch this thing all the way through, especially at THX. I have the DVD of that one, and that THX sound on that one is just through the roof good. And this one's kind of hard to find. I don't see too many people having this in their collection, but I couldn't refuse Ridley Scott's Thelma and Louise with Susan Sarandon and Gina Davis. And let's get this over here. The screenwriter, Kali Curry, is nude for this particular script. It was quite good. That's why they made the movie. And of course it's a double jacket, but we'll just show you the backs and fronts of this real quick. But that was a find. That's kind of hard to find. Another one that kind of goes right up there is Tom Hanks actually directed a movie, for those of you who don't know, and it is That Thing You Do. There it is. THX AC3 disc coming right at you. Oh yeah, this is cool. That was a good find. And then since I had, let's see, I've got almost all the James Cameron discs, so I had to finalize it, and that of course was Titanic. I had to throw that there. That of course is a THX AC3 disc, double disc. The Epic, for your viewing pleasure, will be there. So I got a chance to go on camera. Now you know why I want to go on this Cameron Fest. I got almost all of his films on LaserDisc, of course, with the exception of, oh, what is that one? The Piranha 2, The Spawning, which they're asking a ridiculous price for. Then when I was out at a very well-known record store, yes, record store, vinyl store, they had a little LaserDisc section, and oh, as soon as I saw this one, I snagged it right up. That's Tombstone. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And this thing was in minty condition. Good condition. Really good. So, and this, actually, this LaserDisc is the same thing as the DVD that I had. The DVD was even in the in Dolby Surround, just like this. So they just basically mastered the DVD to it. This LaserDisc to the DVD, well, at least the first editions of it. I have not seen the Blu-rays, and I'm sure they are. What I'm trying to get at is I believe everyone's asking for a 4K release, and I don't know if that's in the works or not. And since I got the Poseidon Adventure in THX, why not get its companion, the Towering Inferno in THX? Paul Newman, and of course a cast like you will not believe. Steve McQueen, William Holden, Faye Dunaway, all these people, and the list just goes on and on. But it's a 2-disc, and yes, it is THX. That's been mastered towards it. Very nice disc to get a hold of for the classic movie. And there's a lot of interesting stuff going on that way. By the way, it's written by somebody named Sterling Silliphant, who's another tremendous screenwriter back in the day. A lot to learn from. A lot of snappy dialogue in this from him. Round out the James Cameron collection, I also got True Lies, and this is another THX Dolby AC3 disc that just gives the system a total workout. And this has been a while since I've watched this one all the way through. I had some problems with it a while back, but I want to watch it again and see what I think of it. And I actually did see that one in the theater, by the way. I figured since I like Francis Coppola, I would go ahead and get a hold of this, Tucker. I saw this one in the theater a while back, so it brings back some memories to it. And this is another one of those Paramount discs that features no chapter search. Thanks, Paramount. You can see how well Paramount and how slightly they took the LaserDisc format. Then I had to get this one.
They sent him to the galley to cook for the crew and the captain. They stole his favorite recipes. They stole his favorite frying pan. They clipped his ponytail. And now he's PO'd beyond belief. Seagal is here to take out the trash with an iron skillet. Under siege.
Yes, the Andrew Davis classic featuring Steven Seagal and Gary Busey. And of course, Tommy Lee Jones is in this as well. This is quite the picture. And then I had to get this, another Brian De Palma picture, The Untouchables, featuring Kevin Costner, Andy Garcia, and of course Sean Connery in it. And this is interesting. Got the two discs. There it is. The Untouchables take two. I tell you, put that man down. I'm a businessman. What do you expect me to do to you? Talk to me. Waterworld, and it is a THX LaserDisc. Kevin Costner, and of course, Dennis Hopper. And there it is. You know, when you see these things, you know, when you're going through these stores, you see something, you gotta grab it. Ron Shelton's White Man Can't Jump. Wesley Snipes, and of course, Woody Harrelson. Very interesting that I found this. And this was another one of those LaserDiscs that you put in and you're surprised at the sound quality. Really, really surprised me. And this was a movie that I really was hunting down for too as well. And I had to get the science fiction classic, The War of the Worlds, and this is the original 53 one. This is a CAV disc, remastered, worth getting a hold of if you love 50 sci-fi. Good stuff, quality stuff. Really surprised at how well made this movie was for its day. And I just had to party with these guys. Wayne's World, dude. Dude. These guys look totally rock, dude. Shia. Right on, dude. Rock. There it is. And then, as I said before, one of my other videos I was borrowing discs, and I wasted no time buying Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and I had to get the CAV edition. This is another worth mentioning original piece of work by Robert Zemeckis, and their tip of the hat to the old Warner Brothers cartoons in the 50s with Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, and all that. It's something else. Worthy find. And that covers it. Right now I kind of sit near completion. I don't know if I'm going to buy any more. I don't know yet. But I'll probably walk into a store and it'll be a situation where I have to say, I better get at, otherwise I'm going to kick myself in the pants for not doing it. But right now it's just kind of slowed down for me. I'm going to really think about what I want to get a hold of. And so far it's been a bunch of comedies that I don't like, a bunch of horror movies that I do not want to add to the collection. I don't want to add a bunch of second-rate B pictures to it. I want something else, a little more of substance, a little something more of worth. And if I do see a good classic movie that's worth throwing in there, I'll probably end up doing that. But other than that, it's going to be caution in the wind, and just being very picky what I allow into the collection. Thank you very much. And if you're still collecting out there, best of luck in finding something that fits your collection. And you never know what you're going to score out there. You never know what you're going to find for a reasonable amount of money.